get into the Chicago Bears before we get into the Packers here.
Go Bears.
First question for you guys. The Bears just traded away Anthony Miller to the Texans on Sunday. Does this affect how you view their wide receiver core? Are you moving up Darnell Mooney or even Allen Robinson with some targets being opened up?
Yeah, I'm thinking about
Moving
putting
both
Mooney
up a little
over
bit.
Allen Robinson now.
What?
Ooh,
I'm just
spicy,
kidding.
Jim.
Oh my
I would never
God.
say that.
I
Dude,
knew
You
he
just
was
said
kidding.
it.
don't joke like that.
Could you imagine moving him up that high?
But I'm not really like too excited. I'm not any more excited than I was about it. Allen Robinson's the guy that you want. Anthony Miller or Darnell Mooney is just like a dart throw. Unfortunately, I don't think he's gonna be.
I think he's going to be a little bit better than the dart throw,
A
my
little
guy.
bit more,
Me
a little
too.
bit better.
All
a
right,
little
so
bit
throw
better.
2 darts at the bullseye, big bullseye.
Yeah, I like Mooney. I think it moves him up a bit for sure. Anthony Miller was kind of in the way last year, just taking up some targets. I think this moves Mooney as the wide receiver 2 on this team for sure. Obviously, there's a lot to go around here. They got obviously a top 5 running back last year. Probably not a top 5 running back again, but still, you never know. It's a lot of volume there. And A-Rob's still the number 1. But I think Mooney definitely should move up a little bit. I moved him to, I think, 46. But I think he's got a lot of upside. And based on his ADP, you can get him pretty late. So I like Mooney for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question here. Will Andy Dalton finish this season as the QB1 for this team? And if not, when do you think Justin Fields takes over?
I really wish he doesn't start the season, but he most likely will. And they're just going to use it as their excuse will be something about like letting Fields watch and get some experience. But you get the experience playing the damn game. I think Fields starts by week 3 because like Matt Nagy's job's on the line, the general manager's job is on the line. They need to get this right. And they don't have a lot of rope to climb. Sorry, I don't know what. I might have just made that up. But yeah, if Dalton, they see Dalton struggling early, they'll definitely just have to put in Fields.
Yeah, I think what Q was trying to say that Dalton is on a short leash.
Yeah, that rope to climb. No, Dalton might
Shorter
have a
rope
long-
to climb.
Dalton has it's not about Dalton's leash, it's about the rest of the management's leash.
It's all
Because
combined, too.
they know they're fired if they can't get this year. But they have an all-star caliber defense, and they're just going to waste it away because they can't get the right quarterback in.
I don't know. Their defense has kind of been falling off.
It's
Hasn't
still
been what
top-
it used to be.
Still pretty
still
solid, though.
elite.
Why do you want to start Andy Dalton in the first place, though? I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I guess
Throw
if
the
they
rookie
signed-
no
out there.
sense to
Let him
me.
get the experience.
Yeah.
They signed them, tweeted out they's QB1, then they draft Justin Fields.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Justin Fields might start QB1 week 1.
That's what I'm
Um,
thinking.
It easily could happen. We'll see what progresses over preseason. If he starts making some flashy plays and he looks like he's ready to go, I would not be shocked if they said, you know what, we're going to make the switch. We're going to put Fields in week 1. But I think at worst, probably like week 5 or 6, I think they might just start with Dalton, realize it's not going too well, and throw Fields out there.
Yeah, they might start like 0-3 and be like, all right, this was a bad idea.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a little bit scary. Are people moving too fast on the Cole Kmet breakout train? Is Jimmy Graham going to continue to split receiving work with him this year?
I don't
Yes.
know how he's still
Yes
on this
and
damn
yes.
team.
What do you mean? The man
Like-
had 8 touchdowns
No,
last year. He is a
he-
red zone monster.
He would have a dud, then 2 touchdown game, maybe another 1 touchdown game, then a couple blanks, then another 2 touchdowns. So like,
Well, he helps the Chicago Bears win games, so there is no way that they don't keep him involved in that offense.
on the depth
Yeah.
chart, he's tight end 2. So I guess they're rolling with Komet to start, but I'm sure there'll be some sort of share.
Yeah.
There.
There's definitely going to be, I guess you could call it a tight end timeshare.
Well, two tight end set type stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm not drafting Cole Kmet this year, unless it's dynasty, obviously.
Mhm.
Jimmy Graham's still going to be a vital part of this offense. I mean, he was tight end 13 last year. He's a big red zone guy. I think Kmet obviously gets a little bit more work this year. They kind of mix him in more, especially if he's building a rapport with Fields as on the second unit right now throughout training camp and whatnot. But I think Jimmy Graham's still going to be involved. Too much to draft either of them, pretty much. I don't think I want any Bears tight end on my fantasy team this year.
Yeah.
In
Hate to
redraft.
break it to you, Q, but Jimmy Grandpa is here to stay.
No,
At least for this year.
I love Jimmy Graham. It's just insane that he's still on the team. Like there's no, no news about him resigning or going to a new team. He's just on the Bears.
He's
again.
just there.
It's just on the Bears.
He's
and
a
he's old.
volunteer.
Volunteer. He's a coach now.
I think he
All
was I loved him more than Gronk. I used to, but
Not last year.
Gronk. Yeah, well, no, Gronk's the guy now.
You loved Gronk last year. Not excited to talk about Gronk again when we get to the Bucks.
I need a big week 1 performance. Like go off.
All right, cap or no cap? Switching gears here. David Montgomery's top 5 finish last season was an anomaly, and he will not finish inside the top 20 this season. Cap or no cap?
Cap.
At top 20?
Yeah, that's the
You
cap
could have
part.
been said like top 15. Make it a little bit more interesting.
I
All right,
think
top 15. Switch it. It's gonna
Cap.
be-
Still cap.
Cap.
Where do you guys have him ranked?
I have Monty at 12.
My rankings are
I have
destroyed.
him at 21.
Yeah, my rankings are
My
horrible.
rankings-
You
right
got him
now.
outside the top 20. How you gonna say cap?
I know. I just had to reread. I forgot. But I think the signing of Damian Williams hurts because now there's no Cordell Patterson, who was like the RB2 on this team. And Cohen will eventually come back, maybe not week 1, but I think that's significantly going to decrease the amount of work that Montgomery had last year, which was insane. He was finished top 5, and we were hating on him halfway through the season until like he actually started, because he was getting the most like insane amount of volume, and he wasn't doing anything. And then suddenly he just did, and he dealt with the quarterback switch, whether it's Foles or Trubisky. He still put up crazy numbers, but I just don't think he was going to repeat that. I think he's going to be what we thought he was coming into last year.
Yeah,
Just
he
average.
had a really good season last year, but we called it last year, like leading into the last 5 games or so there, the season where like
Yeah.
he had super juicy matchups, played pretty much all the worst run defenses in the league and went off every week.
I think he was my league winner.
Yeah, and that helped a lot of people win their leagues. Number 1, number 2 helped him get up to RB4 where he finished. I got him at 17. He's definitely one of my favorite RB2 targets, but I do think he comes down to earth a little bit. Definitely not outside the top 20, but I still think he has the upside to be top 10, but I don't think it's a guarantee whatsoever.
Don't worry.
I do think it was a little bit more of an anomaly for me.
I'll sway you guys in a little bit.
All right, I'm ready to hear it.
All right.
All right, cap or no cap? Allen Robinson will finish as a top 10 wide receiver again this season and should be drafted as a top 10 guy.
No
No
cap.
cap.
Just hope that Andy Dalton gets his ass off the field ASAP.
I don't
'Cause I
think it
feel
really
like-
matters who his
Yeah.
quarterback is.
But I
He's never played
understand
with a
that.
good
But
quarterback.
He played with
He is.
Bortles.
all right, I understand that. But Andy Dalton is. You saw how much he brought down Amari Cooper, CD Lamb.
Yeah, but there's
last
3
year.
good guys there, dude.
Allen Robinson really has never had a really good quarterback.
Never
Sucks.
has.
But I mean, Andy Dalton's just that bad.
I'll
He
take Andy
hurts
Dalton over
all-
Bortles.
I think you're
I don't
hating
think
on
he's much
Dalton a little
worse.
bit. Yeah.
I'm just
Compared
going
to
based
Foles
off last year.
And Trubisky,
Going based
is he
off
that
last
much
year.
worse?
He
Yeah,
made
he wasn't
his
good.
receivers a lot worse.
But he also didn't play that much. He got banged up after like 1 or 2 games. He
Yeah,
played a
Trent
couple more.
Danucci.
I don't know. I just don't trust Dalton. But I still got to go A-Rob top 10 regardless. But Dalton makes me a little bit more nervous as if Fields was the clear-cut starter week 1.
Definitely want Fields to be in a little bit more. But I have A-Rob at 11, so kind of cap. But I still think he obviously should be drafted as a wide receiver 1 if you're
For
playing in a
sure.
12-team league.
Technically.
Technically, he's on the borderline, but he's top 10 guy.
That's a
Draft A-Rob.
technical foul.
Cap or no cap? Justin Fields should be drafted as a backup in every league because he has top 15 upside with the offense he is on.
Top 15 is still kind of
Cap.
high, but we preach that quarterbacks with the running ability is important fantasy, and he sure has. He might be like I'd say he's the second most skilled quarterback coming out of this draft, behind Trev.
D-Law.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. His current ADP, I think, is like QB 18 or something, 18 or 19. So like people are drafting him as their backup. I definitely think he should be owned in a lot of leagues. I have him a little bit lower than that, but if I'm obviously in Dynasty, you're drafting him, but even in redraft, if you're drafting Kyler Murray or whoever your QB1 is, grab Justin Fields, throw him on your bench. If he comes in, starts producing as well, you got a nice trade chip, kind of like Justin Herbert last year too, for a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth a shot for me.
I
Give him
don't
a
hate
shot.
it.
He's got top 15
I'll give him a
upside.
shot.
Good guys to throw to. Good offense. Solid offensive line. Give me Justin Fields.
All right, fine.
All right, Q.
Kind
Bold take. What do you got?
Kind of transitions to what I'm about to say. I think a target you should go for is Justin Fields. Maybe not in the draft, maybe right after the draft, or just extremely late, last pick of the draft. If he can start the season, then I think he has potential to be top 15 quarterback. Obviously, if he has to start halfway through the season or just a couple weeks in, it might be a little tough. But he has the weapons there. He has 2 solid tight ends and a top 10 wide receiver with a possible top 10 running back behind him. And he can run. He's more athletic than Trevor Lawrence. I'll say that. He's just not better. But he has the potential. As long as he's starting, he's something you should look at. Hopefully we know like towards the end of the preseason or halfway through the preseason whether or not he's starting or not.
Yeah. As of right now, I would assume he's not. I would assume Dalton is, but I still think there's a chance that could switch. But yeah, I meant top 15 QB in like terms of like per game, not like obviously if he comes in halfway through the season, he's not going to finish top 15. On that last point there.
I don't know what's up with the 49ers and the Bears. They both drafted in the top 10 of quarterback, and neither of them are starting.
Yeah. They got Jimmy G String and Andy Dalton, the Red
Jimmy
Rifle.
Porn star Jimmy.
Oh.
Yeah, wild. All right, T-Gods, what do you got for us?
I like to keep these more realistic. I'm going to say David Montgomery is going to finish inside the top 7 again.
That's not realistic.
It is realistic, but would you rather we say
realistic.
like top 3 or top 5? Like no, like top 7, it could happen. Top 5 probably not.
Could happen.
But 1,500 all-purpose yards last year, 54 receptions, 10 touchdowns. He averaged 20 touches a game. Tariq Cohen starting the season on the PUP list. In minimum 6 games, it's just the Montgomery show. His backup, Damian Williams,
Did nothing for the Chiefs. I hated that guy.
he's never had more than 50 rushing attempts in a single season. Never went more than 50 rushing attempts. That's his
Playoff
backup.
Damien.
Like it's all Montgomery. Like it's literally all going to be him until at least week 7, at least.
Yeah. I hear you. I like Dave Montgomery. I think he's my favorite like RB2 target outside of like some of these rookies. Or like young guys. Like Dave Montgomery, he's gonna get volume. If he's sitting there where his ADP is right now, I'm taking him every day of the week.
Definitely.
All right, Matt. What you got for us?
All right, man. We touched on this player a little bit, and that is Darnell Mooney. I believe he finishes in the top 30 of wide receivers. I know I said the quarterback play scares me a little bit, but this guy, we saw videos of him routing corners up all season last year. He was just getting overthrown by Foles and Trubisky. I hope you guys are right. I hope Andy Dalton can hit his targets because if he can, Mooney will definitely see a big rise in production this year. The subtraction of Anthony Miller definitely helps because those targets are just going to get spread out between himself and A-Rob. So, and especially if Justin Fields comes into the quarterback position around like week 4 or 5, I just see that even sparking his production even more. So I like Mooney a lot this year. I think he is going to end up being like a flex on a lot of teams this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's definitely one of my favorite late round targets, and I'm going to lead that right into my bold take. I'm going to one-up Matt, say Darnell Mooney's going to finish top 25. Low-end wide receiver 2.
Excuse me.
Upside here. Mooney, I love him a lot this year. Pretty much everything Matt said. Just tack it on. Anthony Miller's gone. That's like 49 catches last year, another 400 some yards. Mooney already had 61 catches last year as a rookie on an offense with terrible quarterback play. Even I think Andy Dalton is a slight upgrade personally over Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky and not knowing who's going to start every week. So give me Darnell Mooney, especially where he's being drafted. You could easily get a steal. He's worth the risk where you're taking him, no doubt.
Mooney.
Miss Mooney.
I was just going to say, you remember Miss Mooney?
Miss Mooney. There was 2 Miss Moonies. They were both bad.
Yeah, the redhead one too.
Yeah, Spanish helper teacher.
All right, the podcast is going way off the rails.